Do you think diversity and inclusion is a larger topic in Canada than in the U.S.? It's more pervasive and in your face in Canada because I've seen story after story. Even Justin Trudeau was just in Mexico this past
Yeah,
week, and he was talking to Mexicans about diversity and inclusion, which is funny because I'm obviously Mexican, and I have friends that travel to Mexico. Very often they still have family that live there, and diversity and inclusion is not a topic that comes up
mm,
amongst Hispanics or Latinos. So, yeah,
yeah.
what's your thoughts on that?
Well, in Canada, you may know we have a more paternalistic government, more communitarian government. Our human rights commissions, each province has a human rights commission, and then there's the Canadian Human Rights Commission. Each province has a human rights tribunal as well as the commission. And these bodies are set to look at the demographics of race, sex, sexual orientation, ability status, and the rest. And they're empowered to allow businesses, universities, and the rest to hire on discriminatory bases. And I know, I suspect that in the States it's harder to do that. It's harder to find legal ways to do that. Often affirmative action programs, as they used to be called, were taken to court and halted by because they contravened one or another statute. But here in Canada, the human rights commissions are encouraging companies and the universities to look at the demographics of their institution, compare the demographics to those outside the institution, and then try to make the institution reflect those demographics. And of course, the demographics have to do with so-called protected groups or historically marginalized groups, groups that I think the term now is equity deserving groups. Used to be equity seeking groups, but now equity deserving groups. So the demographics are based on these categories that people, especially in human rights commissions, have come up with. And then they say the university might want to hire more people of a particular race or sex or ability status or whatever. They can go to the Human Rights Commission and get an exemption from the equality legislation. And target the jobs. So, for instance, there are jobs directed at members of specific racial or ethnic groups.
Mm.
And I don't know that that's well, maybe it's possible in the States, but I suspect it's an awful lot harder.